In this video, we're going to take a look at calculating your FERS annuity. First part is how you calculate any federal annuity. You begin with the length of service, which will include civilian, military time, as well as unused sick leave. That gets multiplied by your high 3 average salary by a general formula that applies to your situation to get your annuity. But we're going to take a look at all three parts of that calculation. The first, length of service. We've got an example here of an employee who spent some time in the Army, as well as 2 different agencies. You can see all that time gets added up. The unused sick leave gets added in there as well, and then it gets broken down to full years and full months. In this case, 31 years and 9 months, but you notice there is also a 15 days that drop off and are not included in the calculation because they exceed a full month. The next part of that formula is the high 3 average salary. Most of you are familiar with that term, but we want to go over the specific definition here. First is the average of your basic pay during any consecutive 3-year period when it was the highest. And that actually goes by month, so it's the highest average for any consecutive 36 months based on your monthly average. Usually that's the last 3 years of service, but it does not necessarily have to be. As part of that, what does basic pay include? It includes locality pay, hazardous duty and environmental pay, AUO, and leave. It does not include bonuses, overtime, or air traffic controller premium pay. The general formula then, the last part of that calculation, has one of 2 forms for a FERS retiree. If you retire prior to age 62, that formula is 1%. So you see it'll be creditable service times your high 3 salary times 1% to get your annuity. If you retire at 62 or later, with 20 years, so if you retire with 62 and 20 years, that bumps up by 10% and becomes a 1.1% formula. So you then get 1.1% per year of your high 3. We'll take a look at a couple examples here. First, we've got someone age 59, their high 3 salary, $63,752. They have 31 years and 7 months of service. You can see the calculation there breaks out to $20,135 divided by 12 for a monthly annuity of $1,677. Now we're going to take a look at that same person, but at age 62. Same salary, same length of service. The calculation now yields $22,148 or $1,845 a month. So you can see that difference is what they got by waiting until age 62 to get that 10% annuity increase. Once your annuity is calculated, the next part is to look at the reductions to that annuity. For a FERS employee, there are 3 reductions you could be looking at. For age, a survivor annuity, or an alternative annuity. We're going to take a look at each of those. Reduction for age is someone who's retiring at MRA plus 10, but they are going to be subject to a penalty reduction for the rest of their life. That reduction is 5% of that annuity per year under age 62. And that's again broken down by month, so it's 5/12% per month. An example we have here is someone retires at age 58 would have their annuity reduced by 20% from the standard calculation. The next reduction you may be subject to is for the survivor annuity. That reduction is 10% for the full survivor annuity and 5% for a partial survivor annuity. A full survivor annuity provides your surviving spouse or other survivor with 50% of your base annuity, and the partial is 25%. So you will pay a reduction of either 10% or 5% for those benefits. The final reduction is an alternative annuity. This is rather rare, but what it does provide for is an employee who retires with a life-threatening illness or medical condition. It would provide them a lump sum up front and then a reduced annuity going forward. Once the reductions are taken out, you will also be subject to withholdings, just like from your paycheck. Those can include the FEHB, FEGLI, federal and state taxes, Medicare Part B if you enroll in that, allotments, for example, a savings bond account, something to that effect, or garnishment for alimony and child support. Once your annuity is calculated, you will also be receiving COLAs throughout retirement, cost of living adjustments. That amount is determined by Congress and is prorated. The key point for mentioning that is while COLAs are determined on December 1st, Just because you retire at the end of November doesn't mean you will receive a year's worth of COLA. You would only receive 1 month. So there's no benefit to trying to time your retirement around a COLA increase. What those COLAs are, you see at the bottom, if the CPI is 2% or less, the COLA is the actual CPI. If it's between 2 and 3, the COLA is fixed at 2. And if it's above 3, it's the CPI minus 1%. So you'll see there's a lot of times when that COLA will be 2% because that is a common area in there. Those cost of living adjustments, when do those apply? For a FERS employee who's on disability, an air traffic controller, or a law enforcement officer, those people will receive COLAs immediately at retirement. So whether that be at age 50, 56, or 62, they will get COLAs immediately. Other FERS retirees will not receive COLAs until age 62. So if you retire at 56, your annuity will be exactly the same until age 62 when the COLA increases will begin. If you have any questions on any other part of FERS retirement, please see the rest of our videos. Thank you.